Today's episode of the WAC Podcast is presented by Hercules Tires. Now here's your host, Eric Danner.
Welcome back to the WAC Podcast. Eric Danner along with Rachel V. Hill. We're now joined by Hannah Bruce, the Stan Bates Award winner from Utah Valley. Hannah, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Hannah, first off, congratulations on winning the Stan Bates Award. What were some of your thoughts when you got that news? Because it's obviously a very prestigious award to get in the Western Athletic Conference.
Yeah, I was really excited. I didn't even really know a lot about awards that the WAC gave out until I found out about it through my athletic department. And it was definitely a huge honor. I have gotten awards through my school before for being a student, top student athlete, but being recognized by the WAC was definitely a huge honor, and I was super excited that to be recognized.
Did you know that you were up for the award before it was given out?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So the anticipation, how was that to kind of wait to get to find out if you were the actual winner?
I feel I'm used to waiting for because I've applied, just for university and different programs and scholarships that I have applied for, that I'm used to the wait, but it doesn't really get easier, because it's obviously something that I want and that I'm excited about, but it was okay.
Yeah, you are up for some major things there, Anna, that we'll get to in a minute. First off, let's talk a little bit about this past season at Utah Valley, a women's soccer team. You make it to the championship, went to overtime against Seattle U. So a very good season, your first team all WAC. Looking back on your career now, what are some of the highlights looking back of the 4 years you spent at Utah Valley?
It was amazing. I really never imagined the type of experience I would have had playing Division I, playing for Utah Valley, being from a small area in Nova Scotia. There isn't a whole lot of traveling, and we went to Boston a couple times, but it's not a whole lot, and you're playing smaller teams, smaller programs. So getting to play in the States, I never really realized. Traveling throughout the whole country, went to Hawaii, went to Costa Rica, spent this past preseason in Michigan, just a lot of amazing experiences. And I never would have thought I'd be playing the first round NCAA against Stanford, who went on to win it that year, playing the Argentina national team, the Costa Rican national team. Definitely just unbelievable experiences that I never imagined I'd have. And then aside from the soccer aspect, but just the bonds I created with my teammates and my coaches and people throughout the athletic department as a whole was definitely an amazing experience.
Being from Nova Scotia, what really attracted you to Utah Valley?
So I have a little bit of family in Utah, so it was kind of home away from home. I had been when I was super young, but it was an opportunity to play Division I, have some family. My sister actually was a student at BYU in Provo, so she was 10 minutes away from me, and she's a year or so older than me, so I came out and she was already here, so that was nice.
First of all, I love Orem too, and that whole area is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you're in Nova Scotia right now, is that correct?
Yeah.
Tell us about Nova Scotia. What's it like there? Is there a lot of soccer? Did you grow up playing soccer there?
Yeah, there's a lot of soccer. Soccer is pretty popular. You have soccer, and then obviously hockey is super popular out here too. But a lot of kids grew up playing soccer, especially in the summer. And there are good programs on the women's side. We're smaller in comparison to, programs that you'd have in Ontario or BC, even Quebec. But so when we would go to nationals, we'd have an all-star team made up from Nova Scotia, from the Atlantic provinces. So we'd have Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, and New Brunswick make one team, and then we'd go to nationals playing Ontario, Quebec, and all those teams. So we're smaller, but we make it work.
We're obviously in very unique times right now with COVID. Obviously, things are all up in the air, but I know you signed a professional contract to go play with a team in Puerto Rico. What is that looking like for the upcoming future?
Yeah, so I played in Puerto Rico for a few months, and then it got cut short because of COVID. And my contract was set to end in May anyways. This summer everything's been up in the air because of the pandemic, because I was looking at going overseas, but like to Portugal, I had a couple contracts in line, but then the league kept getting pushed back for the start date. So because I'm going to England for my master's, it just didn't make sense to go overseas for a month, where I'd have to be leaving in September anyways for school. But I do have a couple teams that I'm looking at playing for when I'm in England. So that's exciting. So I'm kind of just waiting. I wish I was playing right now, but it's okay. It'll come back around in a few months, hopefully.
We're talking with Hannah Bruce, formerly of Utah Valley, and you got a chance to play professionally in Puerto Rico, as you just mentioned. What was that like? Did you just play teams around Puerto Rico? What was the feeling like actually being a professional soccer player?
It was a good experience in terms of, getting to play in a different like area, like on a tropical island, meet different people, play with different girls. The level, like Puerto Rican soccer is still developing and still growing. So like I felt like the level wasn't what I would have liked it to have been, but I definitely learned a lot and still developed as a player, especially on the technical side. We did a lot of technical work. We trained with the men's team there, but I have future goals of playing at a higher level, and I would like to play at the professional level in teams that are more developed and just a higher level for sure. But it was still a good experience for my first contract.
You mentioned going and getting your master's in England. What will you be getting your master's in?
Clinical and therapeutic neuroscience.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
And then Hannah, you're going to be going to Oxford, which,
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the great universities in the world you can go to. I mean, it's one, maybe the best one. And you're a Rhodes Scholar finalist. Tell us about that. What is that? And when do you find out if you get the Rhodes Scholar?
So, and actually that process happened in the fall. So I was Rhodes finalist, and I flew into Nova Scotia for the interviews. So I did that in November, and there were 8 finalists. So it was exciting. I never would have thought, I would have even been a finalist. So when I got that news, I remember I was at a team dinner, and I don't know where we were. Maybe it was Michigan. No, I don't know where we were at, but we were away for a trip with our team. And then we were sitting, actually it was during the WAC tournament. It was when we were in Seattle. And we were sitting out at dinner, and then I checked my email really quick, because I had been anticipating and waiting, and just whether I was going to get it or not get it to be a finalist. And when I pulled up the email, I was super ecstatic, so excited. And then I flew out to Nova Scotia, went to New Brunswick for the interviews, and it was an insane experience. It was kind of a mingle session, for the first hour. Then you sat down at dinner, all the people interviewing you were kind of rotating through, and then the next day you did a one-on-one interview. Definitely a little bit nerve-wracking, doing such a big interview. I've never experienced doing something like that before. I didn't end up being selected. There were 2 other girls. They picked 2 of the 8, and they ended up getting the scholarship. But then afterwards, I was kind of do I still apply? Because a lot of people, if they don't get the scholarship, they don't apply and they do other things. But I was you know what? I'm going to apply. It was kind of a last minute decision, because I wasn't sure how I would do if I would get accepted without being a Rhodes Scholar. But I applied, and then I had gotten accepted to other programs. So I was anticipating going back to the University of Utah, actually, because I got a good offer there. But then, so I was telling everyone, oh, I'm moving back to Utah. And then next thing you know, I got an email saying I was accepted, and I was completely mind blown. So definitely that was a whole game changer. But instantly, that was the plan. If I got accepted to Oxford, I'm going to Oxford. So.
Do you know what your future will look like the next coming months going to Oxford? I mean, is things over there still okay with the pandemic? Has anything really hit over there?
Yeah, they definitely have had like a decent amount of cases. I don't know like the numbers or anything, but I've been getting updates regularly from Oxford and from my program advisors, and they're still set to start as usual. I'm pretty sure my master's class is maybe 20 students, so we're a small program to begin with, and a lot of programs are like that, especially in like your master's and PhD programs. But I think, there will be like minor adjustments if things can be done online. I think that will happen, but they're planning on starting as usual. I have my housing all set up, so I'm really excited to get going.
When will you head
You
out there?
graduated with a 4.0 at Utah Valley, so obviously you've been a very good student for a long time. Shouldn't have been that big a surprise to get into Oxford. What are you going to be studying, and what do you hope to do once you graduate?
Yeah, so clinical and therapeutic neuroscience, it's a 12-month program, 3 continuous semesters. After my program, I'm thinking of seeing where professional soccer can take me. So maybe doing that. A lot of women still playing professional soccer still work. A lot is not like you're making the same amount of money as men would be making. So I'm hoping to get into my field a little bit, but then still be playing professional soccer and seeing where that can take me for another couple years. But the goal would be, I want to get my PhD or my DPhil if I'm still in the UK or in Europe, and then either teaching, being a professor, working with kids with different neurodevelopmental disorders. So that would be one route. But then, I have so many possibilities of what I want to do. So I'm not even really sure exactly what I want to do. I did my second year at Utah Valley. I went to a conference, the NCAA Leadership Forum in Orlando, and there was a guest speaker who worked at the NCAA Sports Science Institute, and that kind of caught my interest a little bit. So even getting in and getting back into athletics without actually being a coach, and because that's not really something that I'm overly interested in doing, but working for the Sports Science Institute, I think would be really exciting, and doing research, whether it's concussions or working with athletes in that area, I think could be cool. So I don't know, we'll see.
I know you did a good amount of volunteer work while you were in Utah. Why do you think that that's so important?
I just always liked giving back to my community. I did a ton in high school out here in Nova Scotia, and then as soon as I got to Utah, I just instantly researched ways I could get involved. I just love giving back to my community. I feel like I got a lot out of from my community growing up, where I just wanted to give back in any way that I could. I also think it's good just to get that hands-on life experience through volunteer work. I love making a difference, and I love working with kids. So a lot of my volunteer work was based around working with kids and youth. I like being a role model and just making a difference in their lives. And then I also think it helps for just understanding different types of people, and I know having compassion. And I think it also helps me personally build my confidence and makes me feel good while also making other people feel good. So it's, I don't know, best of both worlds, I guess.
I love that answer.
Now, do you see yourself returning to Nova Scotia when you're done with soccer, when you're done with your schooling? You've been to Utah, for 4 years. You're going to England here. You mentioned possibly Portugal for professional soccer. Where do you see yourself winding up when you're done with all your schooling and soccer?
I kind of see myself ending back up in the States, just because there are a lot of opportunities there. Just in terms of academia, if I were to do research and work for a university, I would love to work for an Ivy League in the States. And I was saying with the Sports Science Institute, working for the NCAA, I just think there are just a lot of opportunities in the States and bigger organizations that I can see myself returning there. I love Nova Scotia, I love home, but I'm just not maybe down the road, later on. But for now, I still just want to travel, live in different cities, see what I can do around the world. I don't know.
I would obviously love to visit Nova Scotia one day, so I just need to know best food out there to eat.
Oh, our seafood is so good. If you're a seafood person, then we have so many like fishing communities are right on the coast. I mean, fish and chips, the clams, lobster. I mean, honestly, seafood, you just can't go wrong out here.
I love seafood, so I'll take it.
Okay.
Now, Hannah, it sounds like, I mean, you have so much going on. I imagine you see yourself as a role model to younger kids.
Yeah, I do.
What do you hope to convey to kids? You said you've worked with them quite a bit. What
Yeah.
lead by example, or do you have a speech to give to kids? We'll give you the floor here as far as playing college athletics, how that helped your life and pursuing your dreams.
Yeah, so I guess, so in terms of youth and athletes, I would say just like continue to like to work and like hard in your sport and realize like there's so many benefits to being an athlete, whether you make it at like the top college level or not, but just even in youth sports. I mean, the leadership skills you develop and like the connections you build and work ethic and all of that stuff just helps you in every other aspect in life. And then, so with that, I would say, yeah, so just like with sports, it's so helpful and just to learn all those lessons and apply them to other areas of your life. And then for like non-athletes, I've worked with a lot of just other youth in different environments. It's just to keep like working at, you know, at school and, you know, stay motivated and like out of trouble. And I like, cause I came from like, I don't know, like an environment that, you know, it didn't have a lot of money, you know, and there's a lot of different routes like kids can take. And based off of like their environment, it can be tough, but just to find something that you're passionate about and like use that to motivate you, like to keep going. And I like that because I have come from like a different type of environment that I can relate well to different types of kids and just hopefully be a positive influence and role model and help them see that regardless of what environment you come from, you can still like do really big things with your life.
Hannah, I know you want to continue that playing career, but past that, would you ever think about getting into coaching?
I'm coaching right now actually as like a full-time job, and I do love like working with kids, but coaching like is definitely more of a temporary thing for me. I enjoy it, but it's not where I see myself like down the road.
Well, Hannah, congratulations on winning the Stan Bates Award. Congratulations on all your success in soccer and in the academics. Good luck at Oxford.
Thank you.
We're definitely going to want to keep an eye on you in the future, and maybe we can have you back on the podcast before too long.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, that is Hannah Bruce from Utah Valley, formerly of Utah Valley, now Oxford University. We also want to thank Ron Lockery for joining us earlier on the WAC Podcast, and we want to thank you for listening to the WAC Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the WAC Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And check out our website at wacsports.com.